Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Marshall. I'm co-chair of our Safe Together, Strong Together Return to Campus here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Amy Bronson. I'm sure all of you at home are thrilled to see Amy back on set and relieved to not see me alone up here. That makes two of us. We're really excited to chat with everybody today. We have a couple of different topics we want to cover. And to start off, I think we really want to reflect on, as we head into fall break, short as it is, the fact that in some regards, we shouldn't be here today. There were a lot of senses that we wouldn't make it this far in the semester, that our students were not going to be able to follow safety protocols, that our campus simply couldn't do this. And so I really want to start by making that observation, right? The remarkable nature of what's gone on and how meaningful that really is. So to start with, this idea that what we have accomplished together as a campus is remarkable. You know, our students, many of whom walking into this was their first experience in college, and so the fact that right out of the gate they demonstrated how much they appreciated being here and how much they were going to own this campus and own this protocol and making sure that we're all here safely. And so that the only thing we have to do to realize how big of a deal that is look around us and to look at all the various institutions that have not made it thus far in the semester. And so I think just reflecting on how remarkable that work is together as a campus. And secondarily, I think to that is really how meaningful that is. If you remark on the work that's been done, why is maybe just as important. And I go back to the beginning of this and how this has been really a value-based decision to come back together as a campus here. And if you pause and reflect on our student body, 2 out of 3 of our students are either going to be first in their family to go to college, low income, and or a student of color. We know that those students in particular don't do well, particularly in that online environment, and that it has been a really difficult slog over these last 6 months. And so for us to be able to come together as a campus and ensure that students have access to their dreams, access to that pathway of education, has really been something of meaning, and really grateful to be a part of that. So Dr. Bronson, so glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
How have we been doing on the testing front? And a lot of updates, I guess, in the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I think as you reflect back on where we've come from and where we are, we have built a really big infrastructure of different testing types, and I think it is really that values-based of answering the why we're here that has allowed us to be able to do that. It has taken a lot of different people working together and a lot of long hours to really set up what has become something that's been very successful on campus. So when we think back to the beginning, we were here talking about what happened over the summer when we were just moving a small cohort of folks from their residence over the spring into sort of their summer residence, and we piloted what testing and sampling would look like here on campus. Just a really small operation, growing all the way to being able to do our baseline testing with that anterior nasal swab testing here on campus, and being able to get thousands of folks through in a real short amount of time. The scalability of that is really thanks to not only our community partners, St. Mary's, Mesa County Public Health, Mesa County Public Health, but really what has become is really our community coming together, meaning our CMU community. The amount of volunteers and folks that have said, yes, I'm willing to help out, has really been tremendous.
Yeah.
Now we've moved into some new tiers of testing. We're doing wastewater testing deployed back here on campus. That has been very successful in being able to be an early identifier for COVID in our campus. So by testing that effluent waste, we're able to have an early warning sign, follow on with some testing afterwards to really identify where that COVID case may be, isolate and mitigate very quickly to be able to stop the spread. And that has proven to be really, really impactful in our ability to still be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And following on that, we have been sort of out in front running fast, and part of that is also our ability to be able to do LAMP testing. So LAMP testing is that saliva-based testing we're currently doing on campus. It's a great tool for being able to screen folks. And as we're doing those screenings, it has been so important to be able to flag those early. And I think what it has given us is the ability to have that quickly. And so that quick response and our ability to be able to mitigate very quickly by being able to run it here on campus and not having to wait for a lab to report 48, 72 hours has really given us an edge to be able to respond very quickly to any COVID. And I think that third tier, we still have that diagnostic testing. It has not gone away. And we're still utilizing that strategy as well. And I think when you put those prongs together, we are lucky here on campus to have the infrastructure that we do to be able to keep this campus safe. And that's really thanks to all of those partners and everyone here on campus.
Well, and it has maybe borne out for us as we've watched this all unfold, right, that it does take all of us participating in this, but it also maybe comes back to this idea that I think we spent a fair amount of time on with parents and students and the entire campus this summer about the fact that no one thing was going to help us respond, right? It's this whole layering effect and knowing that a series of safety protocols on top of one another is really what was going to allow us to be successful, and that appears to have been borne out thus far in the semester. Important to build on a second piece. We're walking into tomorrow, which is our one-day fall break, and really trying to speak as clearly as we can to students, faculty, staff, and our entire community about the fact that travel over this fall break, it just cannot happen. And we realize that freedom and that experience in the past is an important one to students, but the reality is every time we see students travel, our numbers go up. We see more cases that are brought back from more populous areas, from other campuses, visiting friends, etc. And so as we head into this fall break, there's been a variety of things that we just want to pause, whether that's in good humor or in a more somber tone. Realistically, we just cannot have students traveling. And so today we are going to chat with a couple of our staff here at CMU to introduce a couple of the opportunities for this weekend to try and keep students here and engaged and having a great time. So with that, we're really thrilled to have one of our great staff members here, John Gabriel, or as the students affectionately refer to him, Johnny G. John, thanks so much for joining us today. I would remind the viewers at home that we all abide by the mask order that is issued by the state of Colorado, the governor of Colorado, as well as Mesa County Public Health. But there is an exemption in that for us to be able to provide public addresses like today, so we'll remove our masks in order to provide clarity as we communicate with you all, and our guests will do the same. So John, welcome to what's become something of a public access cable program here.
Happy to be here, and thanks for having me, Dr. Bronson and John.
So talk to us a little about what it means to work in student life, especially in time of COVID and this pandemic. What's that been like for you?
So honestly, it's been a challenge, but an exciting challenge. Working with the students, we're on Colorado Mesa's front lines. We interact with the students every single day, all day. Mm-hmm. So having the opportunity to do that, and honestly coming from being a student here at CMU, I think it's just a really cool job, and it oftentimes doesn't feel like work. I mean, I get to go to a Friday night concert series. Yes, I'm doing all the things to put it together, but ultimately I get to sit there and watch some sweet music on a Friday night, and that makes work easy. And our students are amazing, and they're really easy to work with and fun to work with. We like to keep the energy high, so one of my biggest goals as the leader of the student life group is to make sure that all of our professional staff are bringing the energy every single day, and making sure our front desk staff that's student run, are greeting students that are coming in. We want an inviting environment up there. Students can come in, study, maybe play a game of chess with one of our associate student governments. Maybe it's just coming in to have a conversation with Avery Cantrell or myself about life.
It's kind of walking with students, right, as they're coming in. They may be doing some work for the newspaper or student government or programming activities council, but in the meantime, you're kind of walking through life with them, aren't you?
Definitely. And I think, honestly, that's probably the most rewarding part of my job is getting to see these young leaders grow and develop relationships and, honestly, these amazing skills. Like, during a time like this, it's so cool to watch these students step up to the plate. Mm-hmm. Being okay with wearing a mask, being okay with washing your hands, being okay with sanitizing, being okay with staying 6 feet away in a classroom setting. All these things are keeping us afloat, and I think it's incredible the response that I see on the front lines from our students.
Well, it occurs to me, your area may be as pronounced as any. We've chatted a lot about what are those things, that the experience of a student on campus that frankly you lose something in the translation over Zoom, et cetera. The kind of things you're talking about don't happen very well at a distance, do they?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenge. I think that's been the most challenging part. And I think, our work with the local health department and with this safety group has gave us the ability to create these events, a concert. That sounds really scary when you say it, because generally it's a big mob of people, listening to music.
Sure.
But we've found ways to spread out, and we've found ways to still have that connection and listen to some music. We've created Mavlies, and you can be and hang with your Mavli as long as you're safe, and we know and regulate these things. And that Scout app was probably the greatest creation ever. I can say with confidence that here on this site at this time, we don't have anybody with symptoms. We don't have anybody that's been in close contact with somebody that has COVID or anybody that has traveled. And we know that just by looking at that green screen.
So, John, I wonder if you might take a minute and help us. Student life, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of, programming that happens, but talk to us a little bit about how student life has been so integral to preventing the virus from spreading and really helping us stay safe on campus.
Sure. So us as a program, I mean, we're providing these socially distant built-in events, that I've spoken of, the concert. Maybe it's painting, a Mav head at a solo table, but with a big group. Also, one of the ideas that was kind of bounced around here at CMU was this peer-to-peer campaign that we've launched, which is basically a call to action by the students to spread a good, positive vibe. Maybe it's a video, maybe it's an event that they planned, and spreading it out across social media and on Facebook, Instagram, and showing the student body, all the things that we're willing to do to stay on campus. So we designed a ploy, essentially, where our associate student government is giving out prizes for students that want to step up and be creative to show our greater campus how you can respond to this virus. What are we doing in our small groups to still have a fun, engaging experience here on campus, as well as being extremely safe. And basically, it's what's keeping us here.
John, it reminds me of the research that's now, of course, decades old in higher ed, that, the ability to figure out why students stay in college and why some don't retain, and really that idea of the more things they're involved in, we know that their retention goes up, and the fewer things they're involved in, their retention goes down. And I wonder, just watching this all play out this semester, it just seems like now more than ever that dynamic seems to be playing out on campus.
Yeah, I would say the response has been great. We've been tasked to have these tons of events, an event every single night, which has been daunting to say the least. But I think the students have responded well.
Yeah.
When 100 students show up to a game of Fugitive on a random Monday night, that's a reward in itself for me, just to see these students just have a blast and run across campus. I think those students that have that experience, are going to be able to 4 years later graduate and tell the story, to the next generation or their kids down the line. CMU was this amazing place, and I am who I am now because of those engaging activities outside of the classroom, really. I think that's really where students find their niche.
Mm-hmm. Well, so heading into fall break, obviously we've strongly encouraged students not to travel this weekend. And I wonder if you might just walk us through a couple of things. What's going on this weekend?
Sure.
Where, if I'm a parent at home watching today and my kids are saying, well, there's nothing happening on campus. Can you help us equip our friends and partners and parents about what might be happening?
Sure. We've definitely ramped this weekend up. There's a ton going on just in the student life department, as well as just on campus as a whole. Our rec center is operating their normal hours, so you can go in there and get a workout in on Friday anytime. We have the whole day, so and that's always a good thing when you have a break. Get your wellness on. Let's go get a workout in. Let's go to a Group X class. I know they have those going on. On top of that, our game room, which is in the University Center, there's video games in there, ping pong, foosball, pool tables, and we're open in there from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Friday and 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Saturday. So students have opportunities to just go do an individual thing if they want. Our associate student government is also putting on a Smash Brothers tournament, which is a video game tournament that they're doing. It's basically King of the Hill in the Mario world.
Okay.
So that's going to be a fun event. I know they're doing that in the UC Ballroom, and you can sign up ahead of time and go play video games for the afternoon. I mean, I know college students do that, so that's going to be an amazing event. And then following that, directly after, we have our Friday night concert series that we've been doing every Friday since September, which has been amazing. And the artist is Southside Highway, so a very popular local artist. In fact, one of the students that plays the guitar is a former CMU graduate.
Okay.
So kind of a cool connection there to bring back some talent. And then, that goes till about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight, wrapping right into Saturday morning, where I know we have some OP stuff going on, and I'll let Ryan Dutch highlight those a little later. But as for that Saturday, 10 a.m., our cross-country team is running at Lincoln Park, right across the street, walkable distance from the school. You could go check that out. Very easy to spread out over, a 3-mile course.
Mm-hmm.
Our football team, our varsity football team, is playing Shadron over at Stoker Stadium, and that game starts at noon. And they are trying to get that stadium as full as we can while doing, our social distance thing. So I know they've
It'll
had
be less than half full for those of
Yes.
you at home.
I know they've had some success on a trial with a scrimmage, so
Yeah.
they've got a really good plan built out. And honestly, man, we're hungry for some football. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be great for our students. And then that evening, our Program Activities Council will be putting on a movie showing in Robinson Theater. That movie will be Deadpool, so students will have an opportunity to go to a free movie in a theater. We'll have popcorn, and it's going to be an awesome time, and that's from 7 to 10 that night. So a lot
great.
going on. And then I'll tell you, Sunday we may not have planned activities, but every single res hall on campus has cornhole boards, spike ball nets, disc dunk. So, I urge students to check out a cornhole board, and it's going to be a beautiful weekend weather-wise. So stay on campus, or, go up on the Mesa and check out the colors. We just had our Color Sunday a couple weekends ago. I know I've been up there personally, and it's amazing time to go bring your camera up and take some sweet pictures. So, stay within Mesa County, but have some fun.
Yeah, that's great, John. We appreciate that very much. Lots to do for students, and you mentioned the outdoor program. And so the other person that we invited to join us today is Ryan Dutch. Ryan's been a long-time leader on this campus, running our outdoor program, or as it's affectionately known here, the OP. And it really has created one of the great outdoor programs in the country. So we're glad to have Ryan here today. So with that, Ryan, welcome. We're glad to have you here, and the ability to chat a little bit about all the opportunities for students to get outdoors and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
I love to talk about the OP, so you'll have to stop me. So yeah, I mean, the outdoor program in general here on campus has been around for a long time. Our main focus is getting students outside. So kind of what we do is we run trips, whether that's weekend trips, overnight trips, we do day trips, we do stuff during the week, outings just to get people outside. We also have a large rental program that we can talk about here. So we're kind of like known for what we do here on campus. I think why we've been successful, and we'll kind of talk about how it's helped out with COVID actually, but it's really the why we do it. So a lot of things that we're having the students do, whether it's going outside and rock climbing or rafting, really why we do it is just to, like Johnny G was saying, to supplement everything else that is on campus. So students come into school, they think, and they've been told that you have to go to the classes and do all these things, and that makes them great students, that makes them learn, but for them to understand who they are, themselves, their passions, their leadership, their communication skills, that's from the extra stuff outside of that. So whether it's participating in student life, in ASG, in intramurals, the outdoor program, these are the things that really round students out, and this is what makes them successful later on. So we really take pride in why we do what we do, and I think that's noticeable to students, and that's why we've been successful. So yeah, the outdoor program is a free place where people can come. We do get student fees, so use it. So everybody's paying for it, so use it as much as possible. Our rental program is very robust. We can talk about a few of those things coming up, but yeah, I mean, the program in general has changed my life. It's made me where I am today. I know the students that come through it, that take part in trips or work for us, it changes their course, changes their futures, and we helps them define what they want to do.
Yeah. It's funny, over the summer we spent a fair amount of time working with our partners at Mesa County Public Health. And I know, Ryan, you were one of the first to really, as we were coming back to campus back in June, and to really start thinking through, how do we do this?
Mm-hmm.
How do we use all the medical and public health knowledge that we have with what we know is going to be important for students,
Mm-hmm.
which is for all of us, right? It's part of why we all live here, and getting outside and doing some of that. Talk to us a little bit about how did that go, kind of developing all these safety protocols and everything that was required over the summer to be ready to go when students got back.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the main things I always keep in the back of my head, specifically with this instance, is your disability is the opportunity. So I think that's how we are all seeing this here on campus is, yes, COVID is forcing us to change the way we do things, but those things aren't just temporary. So it gave us some time to reflect on what we're doing, how we're doing that, how we're reaching students, how we're running trips, and it made us focus more specifically on the small details. So a lot of times with trips, students want to go out, they want to rock climb, they want to do all these things, but a lot of times what participants don't see is all the background stuff. So
Sure.
That really became it's more transparent to students of what we're doing, why we're doing those specific things. As far as protocols and changing all those, there's every school, as you've mentioned, is dealing with the same issues. There's a lot of outdoor programs out there that are running into these same things that aren't open. So there's a lot of outreach on my part to other schools in Colorado and the West. We tend to stay in the West because we do different programming than East Coast stuff, but we have some good community here in Colorado that we've talked to see what they're doing, to figure out our best practices. Mesa County really helped out in kind of driving the conversation. So when we came up with the protocols of bringing up things that we hadn't thought about as well. So, I think that this process has been a good learning experience for us of how we're going to take these into the future, and not just when COVID opens things up more. I don't know if we're actually going to change that many things. Of course, we're going to be able to do different trips, travel different places, but our protocols have really been refined, and it's really helped us in the end, keeping students safer, both through COVID and in the ways that we take with risk management outside as well.
Some of the things we've all learned maybe about disinfecting and just making smart choices, right? Whether that's a
Yep.
flu season or anything else,
Yep.
I guess is maybe what you're getting at. Huh?
Yeah, and I mean, in general, we do a lot of cooking for students. Like on a normal year, we're out there, and hygiene is always important anyway. So we always take that very
Sure.
seriously
Sure.
at any time. We're out there as a family, so we thrive together, and we have to make sure we're all safe out there any normal year. So food handling practices we have in place, but again, it's just been more like encompassing on everything that we're doing, making sure that we're safe and have the hygiene practices.
Ryan, I wonder if you might share with us a couple of the trips that have maybe stuck out to you that have been particular successes or maybe remarkable in some other way that it would be nice to be able to share with the broader community.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, like what we're most known for is these bigger overnight trips. And one of the big things that we have really transitioned to is day trips, so the shorter things. So, you know, everybody likes the overnight trips, learning how to get out there and camp, learning how to do these things. But these day trips have really taken off. We've filled every single trip that we've had has been totally full, and those. I think the reason why those are so successful is people are just craving connection. So it's like one of the things with COVID and being socially distanced is they didn't realize how much they gained from that. They didn't realize how much they got from relationships with friends and family and fellow students and in that interaction. So I think the outdoor program, we've given them an avenue to focus on those connections and those relationships, and that's also again helped us really refine that. So as opposed to just going out and taking people out on a trip, teaching them the activity, like we've really honed down on our relationship building and our communication. And the overarching goal of the trip is to get people connected. And I think, because I think that's what people are really missing now, whether it's outside or with each other. So the day trips have really taken off. We've gone up to the Mesa a lot, done paddleboard trips up onto the Mesa. We provide the lunch, transportation, all the food. We've been doing those things for either free or for very reasonably priced, so $5 to $10. So we're taking that hit there. We're absorbing those costs, but we want to get just students out. Like that's, we don't want that
Ryan,
to be a
we got
barrier.
a parent question. Jennifer's asking if the trips are listed online. So if I'm a student, I'm new here, and I'm trying to figure out how do I get involved, what are the kind of trips, what's available, how do they learn about that?
So we have moved all of our trips online, and it's super easy for students to find. Parents will have to find their students' login to log into MavZone. But when you go into MavZone, we actually have an app. There's an outdoor program rentals and trip app.
Okay.
So you can click on that app, open that app up, make sure you're logged in, and that has our rental site with all of our rental gear. On the bottom, there's a little bright yellow tab that says student trips. So you can click on that and it shows all the trips that we have upcoming for the rest of the semester.
And, you know, Ryan, I know this has been something you've spent a lot of time on over the years, but I wonder in this moment, students who, you know, maybe I come from a more urban setting or I grew up, my parents didn't particularly get me outdoors, et cetera. How do you help and what do you tell those students and families today that are a little intimidated, maybe they don't have a pair of Chacos or they're not quite sure what this all means? How do you make that entree? How do you get students comfortable to just make the leap and show up for a trip?
I think making it accessible monetary wise. So doing free things, doing more entry level trips. And, you know, my whole mindset here with this is the less people know, the better. Because now we're not breaking bad habits. So the perfect person to come on an outdoor program trip is somebody who's never done it before. Just like when students come onto campus, they're new to this. Their first experience on campus that first week is really important. That's why we put so much energy into it. We have the unique opportunity at the outdoor program that every week we have a first-time student going outside on a trip. So we always have that mindset that we're not quite sure who's going to be impacted the most, so we treat everybody like this is their first time outside. So we're really trying to change their view of themselves using the outdoors. So people that are intimidated, come in and do a small trip. Do a free 2-hour thing in the afternoon where we'll go hike up into the monument. We do photography, we do astronomy lessons, we do all sorts of very entry-level things, because extreme activities is not what the outdoors is. Getting outside is more than just that. So
well, and you do so much, you know, in the extracurricular world. I wonder, Dr. Bronson, you know, I know you've done some of this in a co-curricular or even in a frankly curricular fashion. What are some of the things that you've seen happening in the classroom of you see in an academic way, getting outdoors?
Absolutely. And Ryan, I love how you touched on, this is really about wellness, getting outdoors, being active. It's healthy for our brain, it's healthy for our bodies. And I think it can feel really intimidating thinking about the OP and like, well, I've never kayaked, but there's lots of other opportunities. And I love, thinking about what that does. And what we see in the classroom is students that do engage with other students and make that connection. It's about making that connection, about being physically active. It's healthy for the mind, and we see them do so much better and be more engaged in the classroom as well. So I just appreciate you bringing that back around to the wellness piece that's really been important here with COVID.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that we really focus on teaching students is that attention to detail. You have to have that when you're outside. Integrity, compassion, hard work, and perseverance are these things that we can teach outside, but that perfectly translates into the classroom. So we're taking that, and we're not only teaching those skills, but we're teaching them how to transfer that into the classroom. Because in the end, we're trying to make better people, make the world a better place. So that is our goal. So what we're doing out there is really trying to make people better. That's both as academically and individually in their relationships, all that. That's really what we're trying to, that's why we do it.
As we've chatted about the overall community, I wonder, Dr. Bronson, as Mesa County Public Health, and we know that the overall outdoor recreation work has been, maybe we've all decided we want to spend more time outdoors, but in terms of where this goes academically, do you have thoughts on how a lot of these health sciences and wellness kind of academic components grow from this, get better from this?
Absolutely. I think it has caused our program to be innovative. With disruption comes innovation, and we've even started taking some of our meetings to walking meetings, and we've held a couple of classes that are online, but students are hiking while we're out there doing that. And I think we have this amazing playground here in Western Colorado, and the more that we're integrating those two things, I think the more that we're going to see wellness exploding across campus. And so I think the OP has such a great place and a great sounding board to be able to look to say it works, and it's good for our students, and it's good for engagement across campus. And so now I want to go on an outdoor trip. So let's hear what's happening over fall breaks. I know you are planning some amazing things to keep our students engaged and play here, stay here, to take a page from Johnny G's book.
Yeah. So I think leading up to this, we've had around 45 trips go out just up until fall break, and just this weekend alone, we have 6 different trips going out. We have a couple trips tomorrow that are all day. So one of them is a rock climbing trip. I'm going to take a group of students and get them into some desert rock climbing out here. We also have a trip where we're going to ride our bikes just along the riverfront trail, and we're going to go all the way to Fruita and back. In the meantime, we're going to stop at the Hot Tomato and grab some pizza and lunch. So that's both of these trips are free for students. They just have to come into the outdoor program. Those are online. You can see the times to meet for those. They're free. You just have to show up, and if you don't have a bike, we'll have the bikes for you. If you don't have any climbing gear, we have the climbing gear.
So Ryan, for those of us who maybe are oddly shaped and don't fit on bikes and all the rest of it, you've got a variety of equipment, right? And you have the things. So if I'm not particularly, if I'm a little intimidated maybe to do some of this, you have the equipment, you have the transportation, you're going to provide the safety training and all the rest. Is there any other barrier that I'm seeing maybe as somebody who's not accustomed to this world that you guys have maybe thought about and figured out ways to help students break through that?
I think the one of the biggest barriers is in here for students. So they're again intimidated because they don't think that they're outdoorsy. They don't think that they can do these things, but we've yet to see a student that hasn't done anything that they've signed up for. And I'm really good at talking people into doing things.
So they just need to
sign
show
up
up
for trips.
That's
they just
the
need
deal.
to show
You gotta
up.
get there.
And we, like our staff, and it's also not me always going on trips. It's not Mackenzie, the assistant coordinator there. This is student led. So you're getting led by other students who have gone through these trainings. So
like a peer led, maybe a junior, senior, somebody who's been there, been trained, maybe less intimidating.
Exactly. So they don't need to worry about being intimidated by me or by you. I mean, I don't know we have a bike any bike out there that would fit you, but we could get you
Nobody
on
wants
something.
to see me on a bike.
That would be like the comedy relief there on the trip.
That
so,
would break through the
that would
intimidation factor.
break
Yeah.
the ice, and these people that are uncomfortable, it's like, well, at least my bike fits me. So, so we're really lighthearted with it. Again, this is all about those connections there.
Well, speaking from an outsider, I mean, obviously, I don't get to spend as much time in your program as I would love, but every time I go down there, you just have such a great, diverse group of students who love to be there, and you can't walk in there without them being excited and friendly, and I mean, you can just tell that what you've built down there in terms of culture, they love it, and I know that wears off on students who show up. It's infectious.
We hope it does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we do have a couple other weekend trips as well. So we have an overnight rafting trip that's going out. We have another overnight rock climbing trip, and we have a trip, like a hiking trip out in the mountains. So we are traveling. We're going out in our approved areas, but we're outside. It's with our group. They're smaller trips. Our transportation is spread out, so the vans are socially distanced. So again, we've had to make those modifications, sacrifices here and there, but in the end, we're still able to get a lot of people out. It's been hard for our trip leaders for sure, with everything. We've needed that much more out of them, and they've been crushing it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Well, we so appreciate all the safety protocols and everything you've done to be meticulous in your thoughts and plannings, because that is allowing us to continue to do this, and we just so appreciate all the opportunities that you're opening up across campus for students to get outdoors. And
yeah.
I'm going to tell everyone out there, don't be intimidated. Encourage your student to go try something, because there's some really cool trips that you all are doing. So appreciate that.
Ryan, we appreciate your work. Thanks for coming by and spending some time here.
Yeah.
If parents want to get hold of you, or they want to send their students down, it sounds like they could get on MavZone and click on the OP app.
Yep.
How else could they reach you?
So coloradomesa.edu/OP brings you right to our main site. op.coloradomesa.edu. That's going to bring you right to our website. 970-248-1428 will call us. But really, you need to come into the outdoor program to experience it. So I really suggest students come in, just say hi, play some foosball if they want down there. Just look at the pictures. They'll meet those people, and that's what we're really going for.
Where exactly are you located on campus for those maybe you haven't been to your new location?
So 1060 North Avenue. The Google map will bring you right there. So we're in between Houston Hall and Lucero Hall there, where all the shops are. So right there in that parking lot, we're surrounded by a parking lot. The outdoor program is surrounded by cars, but front and center, super easy to see. The big tree right there, we're underneath it. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan, thanks so much for being here today. We appreciate doing that, and I think for everybody at home, if you get time to do this, we certainly encourage your students to get on an outdoor program trip. Dr. Bronson, your mask, unlike my mask, I've got the run-of-the-mill sort of surgical covering, but you have one of these fancy CMU masks. If I'm a parent at home and I want to get one of these masks, how do I do that?
Absolutely. Well, we love our masks, and we actually did an initiative here in the community of over 10,000 masks of helping to get our community all masked up. But we also have them for sale in our bookstore as well. So that's another place that we can get these cool masks.
And if you're a parent out there and you are looking for one of these masks, DM us, I think, on here, give us your information. We'd love to make sure that you are sporting the colors fashionably, while safely and responsibly taking care of your face covering. So shoot us a note. We'd be happy to make sure that we handle that, or you can always stop by our bookstore there, right?
That's right. That's right. Support the Mavs.
Absolutely. Dr. Bronson, what other topics do you think before we wrap up that it's important to share with everybody?
I think maybe, John, if you want to take a few minutes, just talk a little bit about spring semester, and I think people are starting to think through that just a little bit. What is that going to look like? I think we've heard a lot about the programming that's happening. Maybe we can give them just a little peek into kind of what we've been talking about as we think about spring.
Yeah, I think probably next week, you're going to see us publish our spring semester calendar. And so I would encourage you and your students to keep a close eye on that. We're actively working to get our classroom capacities so that they are exactly where they need to be from a public health standpoint, but just as importantly from an instructional standpoint, so that we've really gone through and sharpened our pencils to ensure we have as many classes in person as possible. And not only that, that your students can see clearly between what's online, what's going to be hybrid, and what's going to be fully in person. So we're working to improve that transparency. I think some of you experienced this over the summer as we were working and scrambling to get everything up to date and live and so forth, that there was, I think rightly, some complaints about the fact that we didn't do a great job telling you exactly how that's going to be. We will make sure that you know what that looks like for spring. So that schedule will be coming out soon. The spring calendar, which we anticipate is going to look a lot like our fall calendar. We've kind of figured out what it is going to take for us to be here safely, to be able to manage life in coronavirus, right?
That's right.
So I think students and families can anticipate, as we publish that next week, that you'll be able to see that, and it's likely going to look a lot like what the fall did, with a late break, where we have a really compressed time together, and where we are strongly encouraging you to not travel and to stay here on campus during that time period, right?
Yep. And I think it's important to remember, as we headed into the fall semester, we had a lot of conversations about the changing science and just trying to stay up to date with what's happening around testing and all the different strategies. And so you will likely be hearing from us as we're heading into the spring again, as we look at our playbook and really what worked well in keeping us safe and being able to still be here today when there's a lot of other college campuses that haven't been able to do so. So you can expect that our same strategies that we've been using to ensure safety on campus will continue as we head into the spring, with the caveat that there's new innovations coming all the time, and we are stacking hands on saying we're going to stay out in front of that and continue to do what we can to keep our campus safe.
Jennifer, thanks for the nice comment about programming. We, I think in humility, we are trying to, as you said, diversify this, recognizing that week to week we're learning new things all the time, and really trying to be responsive as new curveballs come about, and really trying to do a good job working together and frankly working with students, learning from students each week what's working and what's not. But appreciate that, Jennifer, in terms of your feedback. We're going to wrap up today. We are so appreciative of everybody's work as we started this. The fact that we are sitting here today is both remarkable and meaningful. We're grateful for everybody's contribution to help us get here. And I actually think, heading into the second part of this term here in the final weeks in the lead up to Thanksgiving, this is going to be some of the best part of this semester. Fall in Grand Junction arrives late. It is summer well through September here. This is, I think, 80 plus degrees today again. Yep. And students are really, I think, settling in and enjoying their time here and being safe. And we've all embraced those protocols. So we figured out what it's going to take, right?
That's right. Yep, and with disruption comes innovation, and we have seen creativity blossom across campus, and you got to hear what some of that creativity has looked like in student services and the OP, and we have more of that to share. So we'll be excited as we continue to wrap up the fall and head into the spring to share just what has happened across campus. It's been some really cool things.
We're excited to do that. Until then, we will look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be in touch. Be well.